So, by a show of hands, who got some sleep last night? Okay, good. You know, I have sat in those seats, and I know that that first day of SOAR, you are information overload. So you probably either slept really well because you were on information overload, or maybe you didn't sleep. But just know that while we know we're giving you so much information this week, if you find that you get home and you didn't retain some of that information, do not hesitate to call us. We are here to answer any questions you have. Call us. If we don't know, we're going to find somebody that does. So do not hesitate to call anyone on campus. My name is Cheryl Combs. I'm the Assistant Director for the Student Employment Office. And today we're going to talk about everything student employment. So you're going to have everything you need to know when we get done with this session. But student employment at Missouri State is a really big deal. Administration understands the importance of student employment, and they allocate a lot of resources because they understand how important it is for students to work while getting your education. So this past year, we had over 3,100 students working in on-campus jobs. So with that 3,100, we paid over $6.1 million in wages. That's money that the university has allocated to pay students while working. In addition to that, we also post positions for off-campus employers. Now we know that there are a lot of postings out there, a lot of jobs out there in the community. Students get jobs and we don't know about all of them. So this is kind of a drop in the bucket. But just for the postings through our office, there were another 750 positions that were obtained in off-campus positions. Okay, reasons to get a job. So kind of think about, what do you think would be good reasons to work while you're getting your education? And I'm sure some of you are going to think probably the same one, but there's actually several reasons why you should consider getting a job. The first is skill development. We call this education outside of the classroom. Your professors are going to give you so much information to prepare you for your careers, but you will also receive a lot of good skill development through working jobs while you're obtaining your education. You're going to grow both personally and professionally. You're going to meet people. So for those of you that have worked in the past or previously, you get to know the folks you work with. And it's really nice when you get to campus because everyone on campus is very easy to ask questions to. But you really get to develop relationships with those folks, the staff members that you work with, and even meeting other students. So it's a really good opportunity to feel comfortable in asking questions and just getting to know folks. Resume and reference building. So when you finish your education at Missouri State, many of you are probably on the career path where you're looking to get that ideal career job. Having an employment while you're obtaining your education is going to allow you to have some employment history and some references, employment references on your resume when you apply for those career positions. So it's really important to build that just so you can show that you have experience. And even if you don't get a job in a specific education path that you're headed, every position has transferable skills. You are going to gain knowledge and experience that's going to help you with any position that you pursue in your future. Okay, this is one you might have thought about, extra cash. So as student employees, you are paid directly to a direct deposit that you set up. Anything you earn as a student employee goes directly to you. So you can, if you determine and you want to spend that to pay on your tuition account, that's great. If you want to put gas in your car, if you want to go eat, get a meal with friends, that money's there for you. So stress can be, you can have a lot of stress from cash, and you're going to meet a lot of folks that you work with. So it's really nice whenever they ask you to go do something, you've got a little bit of extra cash that you can say yes. And this one is kind of a surprise to me, but studies have shown that students that are working while they're getting their education actually have a higher GPA. It's kind of ironic. It's opposite of what you would think. But it's because if you have a job, then you're going to have better time management skills. If you don't, students, when you come to campus, it's really nice because you have total control of your schedule. You can decide when you're going to do things and when you're not going to do things, and You maybe aren't prompted to do things at a certain time by family members, but with that comes some responsibility. So as you're managing your time, you've got to figure out, when am I going to get that paper done? When am I going to study for that exam? I've got a group project, I've got work. You've got to have some downtime, but you do need some structure in that schedule. And having a job forces you to have some of that structure, and it will result in a higher GPA.
As a full-time student in Missouri State, I'm interested in getting an on-campus job. With 15 credit hours worth of classes, I'm a little concerned I won't have enough time for a job. Luckily, I broke down my schedule, and I found that I'd have more than enough time to stay on top of all of my classes and become a student employee. As you can see here, I broke down my week by hours. So there's 168 hours in a week, and I dedicated 15 hours to physical class time. As a full-time student, I'm in 15 credit hours, so that's going to be how much time I spend in class per week. For study time, I dedicated 30 hours, so I want to make sure I'm staying on top of all of my classes, getting all my homework done, preparing for exams, all that good stuff, so 30 hours there. I dedicated 56 hours to sleep. Ideally, I want to get 8 hours of sleep a night, so that comes out to 56 hours per week. 21 hours for eating, so I eat 3 meals a day, about an hour apiece, so that comes out to 21 hours there. So then if you add all of these up, that comes out to 122 hours used during the week. That's going to leave us with 46 unused hours in our week. So say I want to get a student employment job, which I do. Say I work 10 hours a week. Well, that's still going to leave me with 36 unused hours that I can use to do anything from hanging with friends, to working out, to anything else I want to spend my time doing.
Pretty interesting, isn't it? It's really easy to say there's not enough time. There's not enough time to get a job. I've got a full class load. But when you look at it on paper, you can work a few extra hours. And you know, if there are those class schedules, a lot of times where you'll have that odd 2 hours in between classes and there's really not enough time to do other things. Well, departments on campus will work with you around your schedule. They're never going to ask you to miss class or anything. So they're going to work around your schedule. And a lot of times you can work and it's time that you really wouldn't have been doing anything anyway. So there is time to work once you do look at it on paper. So we do have some eligibility requirements to work as an on-campus student employee. The first of those you've already met. You are a degree-seeking MSU student. Congratulations, because you've already checked that off your list. The second is you've got to be enrolled at least half-time. So full-time starts at 12 hours. We have students that take anywhere from 12 to 18 hours as full-time, but half-time would be 6 hours. The reason why this requirement is there is because the FICA administration allows student employees that work on campus to be exempt from FICA taxes. So there's no Social Security or Medicare that's going to be withheld from your check. There is a little bit of federal and state taxation, but based off the income that you'll be making, it's very minimal. So that's why that requirement is there. You must obtain a 2.0 GPA. So you've got to maintain that GPA. Academics always come first. We want you to work, but you are here to get your education. So the 2.0 GPA is a requirement. And then there are a few additional employment eligibility requirements for international students, and that's because of the visa requirements and passports and things like that. So if you do need information on that, check with our office and we can get you that information. Okay, who's figured out college is expensive? Didn't take long to figure that one out, did it? You know what? It is a necessary expense in today's world. And the numbers I'm going to show you are what we would consider cost of attendance. Now keep in mind, these are averages. These are before any campus-based aid. So this is before loans or grants or scholarships. This is the gross total. So, per semester, tuition and fees, if you were taking an average of 14 credit hours, you would be looking at about $4,300. We've added on $5,000 for room and board. Obviously, that's different for every individual. It depends on what their living circumstances are. Books, we've added another $600. It equates to about $2,200 per month when you look at the semester. Now, we have a fairly small office. We have 3 full-time employees, a graduate assistant, a part-time employee, and we employ 6 student employees. So they are great resources for me. I learn stuff from them all the time. They learn from me, I learn from them, it's great. But one thing I did do is I asked our students, if you could have just an extra minimum amount of money per week to make your life comfortable, less stressful financially, what would that number be? And they told me if they had $100 a week just to cover necessities, they need toothpaste, or they want to go out to eat with friends, or put gas in their car, anything like that. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily getting to go to the mall and spend a ton of money or buy a bunch of stuff off of Amazon, but if they could just have a minimum amount of money to make them comfortable, they said that $100 a week would really be helpful. So that's $400 a month. Now, if you were to get a job and you were to work 10 hours a week, and you worked every week of this semester, 17 weeks, at minimum wage, the current minimum wage is $11.15, that's going to go up on January 1st to $12 an hour, that could equate to $379. So that could satisfy that extra money component that the students really felt like would be helpful. So that extra cash flow could be really easy, just by working 10 hours a week. Now keep in mind, you could work less than that, and of course you would make less money, but maybe you only want to work 4 or 5 hours a week. That's okay too. You can work more. We have students that work 20 hours a week. So that would be up to you and what you would want to do as far as income, but there is a way to make some money working a very small amount of hours per week. Okay, we have 2 different types of student employment positions. The first is called a general student employment position. That just means that the departments are paying the wages for that student to work there. When you get in there, and we're going to show you how to look for jobs, but when you go in to look at jobs, these positions are always designated as work-study optional. And that means you do not have to have work-study to apply to these jobs. You know how I told you 3,100 students worked on campus last year? Well, only 400 of them were work-study, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But most students are paid through this classification. So if you don't have work-study, you're going to apply to positions that say work-study optional, and that's what these positions are. They're paid through university budgets. Now, the other option is called federal work-study. This is based off of financial need. It's determined from your FAFSA, and basically, if you qualify for a Pell Grant, you likely would qualify for work-study. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get work-study because it's federal funding and we're limited on the amount of money that we get. About 40% of the students at Missouri State qualify for a Pell Grant. We do not get enough money to award every student work-study. So the benefit of work-study, and there is a website on our link, a web address on our website where you can actually go in and learn more about work-study. But the benefit of having work-study is there are some departments on campus that do not have an allocated budget to pay student employees. So if they post a job, they're going to put work-study required. All student employees are paid the same way. Everything's handled exactly the same way. It's literally just a different funding bucket. So if you have work-study, you can apply to every job on campus, whether it's work-study optional or work-study required. If you don't have work-study, you can only apply to those that say work-study optional. Now, if you did not get a work-study award on your initial financial aid awards, we typically get some extra money throughout the year. We do have a work-study wait list that opens on August 1st. It's on your My Missouri State menu. It'll open at 7 a.m. It's first come, first serve. So if you didn't get work-study, you got a Pell Grant, and you want to be considered for that, just sign up for your work-study wait list on your My Missouri State menu. So how to find a job. This is a snapshot of our website. It looks a little scrunched on the screen, but it really does look a little different whenever you get on the website. But as you can see at the bottom where it says find a job, on that left-hand corner, that's where you're going to go in and you're going to look for job postings. You can get there through our website, or you can get there by going to missouristate.edu/find-a-job with no spaces. When you get in there, it's going to prompt you, when you look at positions, it's going to prompt you to set up a username and password. Those are unique to your Veritas ID, so they are not the same. You're going to determine what those should be. The nice thing is they never expire, so that's something that you're going to be able to use throughout your continual education seeking employment opportunities, you'll continually use that username and password. As you go into those job postings, each one of the job postings are going to show what the requirements are for that job. It's going to give you a description of details for the job, how much it pays, how many hours per week, what their hours are. It's going to give you all the detail you need. And once you get in there, you can literally see a link that says apply to this job. So it's not like you're having to go somewhere else. You're in the posting, you like that position, you want to apply to it, you say apply to this job, it prompts you to create the username and password, and then once you apply to it, what's really nice is it stores your application on file. So, students, show of hands, how many of you have worked prior to coming to college? Okay, there are several of you that have, that's great. If you haven't, it's okay. We know that many students have not had employment before they get to college, and that is okay. You can still apply to jobs, you are still going to be considered for jobs. But for those of you who have applied to jobs before, sometimes filling out that application can be really time consuming. By the time you go in there, you put all the demographics, employment history, if you have any, references, skills, qualifications. What's really nice is with this stored, once you find another job and you say, I want to apply to this job, it's going to ask you, do you want to use your current application on file? So you can just literally apply to every position that you're interested in, and you can do it really quickly and easily once you get that first application done. So now, students, if you'll listen up just a minute, in case you're nodding off, I want to give you some application tips, okay? There are some things that are going to make you stand out. You are competing with jobs against other university level students. So you want to make sure you stand out. Some of these, I think, are kind of no-brainers, but you would be surprised at how much we see. When you're completing your application, use both upper and lowercase. Now, we're in the world of texting, and typically we use a lot of lowercase. But you would be surprised at how many applications we see where all of the names, the streets, the towns, everything's lowercase. That might be fine in the texting world, but when you're applying for a job, you want to stand out. So you want to use grammar. You want to use upper and lowercase on your on your words that you're putting on the application. Even if it's a street name, put that upper and lowercase. On your application, it's going to ask some questions, and some of them are just going to be not applicable. But if there is a field where it's asking for an address line, put it in there. The reason why you want to do that, you might have a resume and all of that information might be on the resume as well, but it shows the person that's looking at your application that you have attention to detail and you're thorough and have completed everything. So you want to complete all those fields. Now, how many of you are morning people? Anybody morning people? Ooh, nice. That's great. Well, you may want those morning shifts for positions. You may want to go to work before you have class. How many of you are not morning people? Okay, some of those too. So suppose you're one of those not morning people and you want to apply for a job and it asks what your availability is and you're like, whoa, I do not want to work before 10 a.m. Nope, not going to do that. I have class from 11 to 12:30, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I want, I've met a lot of new people here and I want to be able to have my evenings open because I want to be able to do stuff if I get asked. So as I'm asking, if they're asking me what my availability is, I'm going to say I'm available from 1 to 3, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, that's great. And you have total control of your schedule and you do not have to put down every hour that you're available. But if you are the person looking through those applications and you need somebody to work from 8:30 to 10 and you don't have class until 11 or 11:30 that day, they may not look at your application because it's not fitting their needs. So just keep that in mind as you are saying, listing what your availability is. Keep that in mind that they are also looking and trying to cover the needs that they have, okay? If you don't have a resume, we do have a service at the Career Center in Carrington 309. They will also do virtual appointments. They will help you build a resume. There are all kinds of resume templates online. I recommend going ahead and doing a resume. Have it done now, and then you just got it on file, and when you go to apply to a job, some positions are going to require a resume with the application. Many won't. but having that resume shows that you went the extra mile and that you really do want to work. So it's a good idea to have one of those on hand no matter what. That's something you can pull together right now and just have it done. We do have a section on our website that is We'll Keep You Posted. And that is designed just so you can put your email address in there. We will not inundate you with emails. But you will get an email from our office once a week. It's going to tell you all of the new on and off campus postings for the week. So it's a nice little reminder just in front of you to say these are new positions, and that way if you're interested in one, it sparks your attention to go out there and apply. Now students, there are positions on our website right now that you can apply to. And I recommend going ahead and starting that process. There will be more positions as we get close to fall semester, but keep in mind there's going to be more students looking. So go ahead and, if you're planning on working right away, go ahead and apply, get that taken care of. Then you've got that done before you get here, or you've already got the applications done. You may even have a job before you get here. So that's a good idea to go ahead and get started on that process. So believe it or not, in the college world we have scammers. It's hard to believe. I mean, scammers are everywhere. So I just want to give you a few little tips on that just to make sure that you're aware of what to watch for. Student emails are public. So when you have your John Doe at Missouri State email, you can literally type your name at the website and it's going to show your email address. And the reason that's there is other students have got to be able to get a hold of you. If you're in a group project or something and they don't have your phone number, they've got to set up a time to schedule, get that group project done. They need to be able to look you up and have your email. Scammers know that too. Scammers have figured that out and they will solicit employment scams. So if you get a work from home email, they're sending you an email saying, I need a personal assistant. You only need to work about 10 hours a week and you really won't have to do much, just run to the bank and things like that because I'm out of town a lot. I'm going to pay you $40 an hour. I would look into that one a little bit. If you didn't apply to that position and you are being solicited for a position that you didn't apply to and sounds pretty good, I'd check that out. And our office is glad to look at those with you. If you want to come to our office, we'll help you research those as well. So if it sounds good to be too good to be true, be cautious of that. If you are ever asked for confidential information over your email, don't do it. If someone wants that information, they're going to find another way for you to get it. Keep in mind, Missouri State already has all of your confidential information in our system as a student. We would never ask for that information, okay? And if you get an email for a job that you've applied to on campus, it's always going to come from a Missouri State email address. It's not going to come from a Gmail address or anything like that. If you apply for an off-campus position, that's fine. But just know that if you didn't apply for a position, then they probably wouldn't know how to get a hold of you. So that's likely going to be a scam. Okay, so like I said, it's good to go ahead and start applying now. But we do have a job fair that first week of classes. So on August 31st, we'll have a job fair right upstairs in this building in the ballroom. And we will have both on and off-campus employers here. So that's a good way to go and make those connections. If you haven't gotten a job yet, come to the job fair. You can get some face time with employers and see about getting a job.
Around the country, student employees commit their time and energy to perform essential tasks for their university's success, and all the while
gaining knowledge and skills to benefit them in future careers.
At MSU, we have over 3,100 student employees, but their impact is immeasurable.
Student employees do earn a paycheck, but more importantly, they earn extraordinary education outside of the classroom.
While National Student Employment Week honors and recognizes our student workers,
we appreciate their hard work and dedication every day of the year.
Here at the Student Employment Office, we cultivate leaders, one student employee at a time.
So you can see, working on campus can be fun. There's lots of opportunities. Every department on campus hires student employees, and it's a great experience. This video was actually made by one of our student employees. He made this his second year in our office. I think he's worked in our office 4 years. He's had the opportunity to make lots of videos. He's a marketing major. He's actually taping this presentation right now, so everybody can wave at Chase there in the middle. But we have opportunities for students that are going to grow your portfolio, they're going to grow your resume, and it's going to give you great experiences. As you can see, students are having fun while they're working. So it is really a neat opportunity. So I've given you a ton of information today. So as far as questions go, if you've got a question, probably someone around you does as well. So what questions can I answer for you? We've got about 5 minutes. No questions? Okay, well, one of the common questions that I get is how many hours per week do students actually, average work? Typically, students work probably around anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a week. Is kind of what the average is. You can work more than one job. There are positions on campus that are kind of unique. There are some that are going to be like weekly, but then we have positions on campus like the Arena and Juanita K, where they have special events, and we've got Broadway productions coming and lots of neat concerts. In those positions, it's basically by event. So say you are a box office person, usher, or something for those events. One thing that's really neat is once you get everybody taken care of and they're seated and watching the concert, you're going to get to watch it as well, and you didn't have to pay for it. You actually got paid to watch it. So that's kind of a neat opportunity. So those are going to be more sporadic jobs, but then there might be a position like our office or chemistry lab or something like that where you work 2 or 3 days a week, 3 or 4 hours. So those are just different types of job scenarios. Okay, that's a good question. So are there any openings or positions on the weekends? Yes. So there are some offices on campus that are 24/7. For instance, Res Life. There might be a desk worker at the front of the res halls. They are there to occupy that 24/7. Bookstore, foster rec, custodial. We have intramural referees with foster rec and the intramural program. Fitness centers, you name it, grounds. There are positions on the weekends and on the evenings, so if maybe you don't want to work during the day, there are classes that happen on the evenings. So we've got labs that hire students to help with the labs and to clean and prepare specimens and things like that. Those could potentially be in the evenings as well. So there's all kinds of opportunities, and that's all going to be listed in each one of those postings. Any other questions? Well, we've got a couple of minutes, so I think you need to probably sit tight for just a couple of minutes they're telling me sit tight for just a couple of minutes. They'll let you know when it's time to go to that next session. We are really glad you're here. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and welcome to Missouri State.